Hello everyone, and welcome to Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, I think we had chosen our main path, but we hadn't chosen exactly where we're going yet. But I think you guys can pick up a hint or two. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until lunch break, then our time is our own. See, half days on Saturday. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work, not wanting to break the trend. I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial, not a peep heard among the ruffling papers. That can be partly attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present. That's right, president, not present, in class, more at 11. Probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nikai, can I speak to you for a moment? Sure, why not? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha, dem drills, that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Okay. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. I hope I don't have to do that thing where I have to hold 2 buckets of water. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how's your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Muto's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a little too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you gotta keep up with things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week, there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over. He's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at the suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly pretending that they are working on questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped out on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left before our chat. Whatever. I'm dyslexic, if you guys haven't figured this out. And by that I just mean I'm illiterate. Not really actually any sort of real underlying condition. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock in the hallway slowly ticks, remaining class time away until the bell finally cries out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issue at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind to quickly finish the question so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Oh hey, apart from me, Hanako's the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. Who can blame her? It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is Hanako, but it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else, so an oppressive silence falls upon the room. A lot of different types of silence in this game. Time passes in silence. Oh, there it is again. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn the pages of my notebook. Hanako turns the pages of the novel she's reading. My lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated and subsequent fumbling for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall, beautiful figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall, and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye, out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of moments, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk, dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one that I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, That's right. I think Lily mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon make me yearn to get out of school, or at least do something other than sit here. Giving into one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any day other than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of the seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. No, don't, please. He doesn't strike me as that enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tacks, I briefly entertained the idea of talking with Hanako, but by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. I might go for a walk in town. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. There was a reason she left for the classroom, after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lily. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me despite her other, obviously taxing duties. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find Lily. The exercise will do me some good as well. Walking through this school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates that we didn't really want to bother writing or drawing or, giving any sort of personality to. The gesture being returned in kind. Even from here, the shouts of the sports club members can be heard. From the sheer volume of the den, the track must be packed right now. I remember what Lily said yesterday about being dropped right into the middle of a busy time for the school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on study that I've missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated, at least not yet. Well, I guess not everything's bad. This is a private school, and that much is easily noticed, and when walking around outside, not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate, and quite divorced from the dime a dozen concrete blocks of this public school. There are also the fact that there's a much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their little clique and be done with it. Eventually, I reached the gate and began to walk down the road into town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of the town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decided to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in the city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strikes me as incredibly unusual. All that's to be seen are the odd elderly person shuffling along the sidewalks and assorted, busily chatting pairs of middle-aged women outside of small storefronts. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, though making me realize that I could have pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on the prospect of soldiering on. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. The prime of your life's really more like your mid-20s. I'm not even there yet, so trust me. The stay in hospital, the surgery, and the medications must be taking its toll on me, damn it. Eventually my breathing returns to normal, and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn, though, in any case. There's a little cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. A little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. For a few moments I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and then drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service bell. Hey, it's that girl. Eventually a door some ways behind the counter opens, the person emerging from it taking me from complete surprise. Yuko? Hi, I had no idea you worked here. Really had no idea how to address her either, given that technically she's school staff, as well as apparently my waitress? Yes, She quickly paces up to the counter before flinging her upper half downwards in an overacted bow. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? Oh, I guess this is a Chinese restaurant. Maybe? I don't know. I think so. Straight down to business, I see. I don't know. Well, some coffee, please? Yes, certainly. I'll make it right away and bring it to you when it's done. Thanks. Yuko's formality takes me aback. She seems to take her job very seriously. Obeying her instructions, I turn around and quickly glance around a free table. Considering the cafe seems to be empty, this is a pretty simple task to accomplish. As I walk towards a table adjacent to the window, I notice a flash of yellow around one of the table dividers. Ooh! Who's this young so-and-so? And what voice will I give them? Sure enough, no more than a glance is needed to ascertain that it's Satao. That's a certain Satao at the table. That said, I don't recognize the suited figure on the table across from her. Blonde, fair-skinned, only a little shorter. He? She? I think she must be a relative. The two are all but silent as the suited figure takes a swig from a cup of coffee. I decide to greet Lily. Some part of my coming here was in order to meet her, after all. Hi, Lily. Hisao? Yeah, nice to see you again. The suited girl looks up, noting my uniform with a relaxed smile. Know each other? I guess. It's as good an approximation of our relationship as I can think of. Care to take a seat? She says this to the air beside me, but the message is clear enough and I take a seat beside her. I suppose some introductions might be in order. Hisao, this is Akira Satao. My older sister. Akira, this is Hisao Nakai. Another Yamaku student. Looks like my guess was correct. The newly introduced Akira gives a nod, which I return. I wonder if the red eyes is a recessive gene. I haven't ever seen that in a human being. What I don't return, however, is the almost analytical gaze which she gives me looking over. As she does, Yuko walks up to the table and carefully places the coffee on the table before bowing and taking her leave. Gently bringing my hand to the side of the cup, I realize that it's already at just the right temperature to drink. After taking a sip, the flavor turns out to be just as good as the temperature. Yuko seems a lot better at this than being a librarian. I take a good long drink before relaxing into the seat. It takes mere seconds for Akira's examination to come to an end. Apparently, becoming quickly bored with the activity, she turns to her sister. So, how's school recently? It seems Akira is entirely unconcerned with someone she doesn't know at all listening to everything they say. Not that I mind, leaving them to their chatting, I sit back and continue drinking my pleasantly aromatic coffee. Sounds like it's pretty busy for you then. There we go, I think that's a little bit of a better voice. Sometimes it takes a few lines to kind of get things together. At least I'm not cooking your meals after school anymore. As they talk, I slowly realize I'm entirely unable to gauge Lily's emotions through her eyes, as I would for any other person. It becomes slightly unsettling as I subconsciously focus on that fact. Whoa, so cold. Weren't you looking for cooking for yourself anyways? Weren't you cooking for yourself anyways? I only ever got leftovers. That's not the point. Are you managing to feed yourself at least? I can cook without blowing myself up, you know. Mostly. That's... It's fine, it's fine. I needed to learn sometime anyway. Lily? Everyone present is momentarily distracted by Yuko, who places a cup of tea on the table for Lily. Taking the moment to glance at her watch, Akira lever. I feel like it's like, if I use it as a noun, I call it a lever, but if it's a verb, I use it as lever. It's lever as a noun, lever as a verb. I don't know why. Akira levers herself out of her seat and gives a quick nod. Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lily. Akira, do you have to? Lily looks genuinely mournful at her sister suddenly leaving. It does seem like she might have the wrong idea. Sorry, I need to get back to work. They'll be on my neck again if I don't make it back quickly. So informal. Akira's trim and tidy appearance would give anyone the wrong impression of her. Bye, Akira. Come on, don't look so down. I'll be around again soon. See yas. With that, she waltzes out of the Shanghai with her hand held high. Lily still looks pretty depressed, so I try to make some small talk in an effort to take her mind off of it. She seems nice. We used to live together, but now that I live at school, we hardly ever see each other. Despite Lily having been quite affable, I still don't really know that much about her. In hindsight, it's surprising just how much she's extracted from me, really. You used to live together? Was it somewhere around here? It was pretty far south. The trip to Yamaku was fairly long. With her working hours getting longer and Yamaku being so far away, there was little choice in the end but to move into the dormitories. Well, that explains the chatter about cooking. Evidently regaining her composure, she livens back up, at least in part. I take it you're better rested now? Sorry? You sound less exhausted than you did when you first came in. To be able to pick up my breathing like that, she must have pretty good ears. Yeah, ended up walking all over town despite only planning on taking a short walk down here. Reminded me of my thirst from the walk. You got a lot of thirst, Hisao. Not just for coffee. I lean forward to take a sip. Without further ado, Lily starts on her cup of strong-smelling tea. I guess I'd better get going back to Yamaku. There's only so long I can stall studying for, and I want to get a good night's sleep before the festival. Standing from my seat, I take the coffee-stained cup from the table. You're leaving? Yeah, you going to head back as well? It's getting kinda late. For a moment she pauses before lifting her face over her teacup as if she was looking at me. Yuko, could we have one more coffee, please? Okay, I'll bring it right away. That's not subtle. She gives a short giggle at my frank assessment of her maneuver. It's surprisingly childish and carefree, given her otherwise collected appearance. In the end, I have little reason to refuse. To be honest, I can hardly say no, all things considered. Giving a manufactured sigh, I take a seat opposite her. Wanting company then? I'd say that it's more than I was wondering. I see she's in questioning mode again. She does seem to be unusually interested in me, or at least curious. Do you have any siblings? Not exactly an unexpected tangent. No, only child, to be honest. The idea of having someone that close makes me a bit envious. Interesting. I raise an eyebrow, which of course goes unseen. The short silence communicates the question well enough. It's just that others have said the same thing before. It's a difficult subject to try and think about objectively, given that I've always had someone like that. I think I kind of understand Hisao's belief of, like, wanting someone who's really close to you and kind of knows you very well and loves you, you know, whatever. I can understand why people would want that. But I don't know if that would have been the way it turned out in my life, so no reason to worry about it too much. I can mostly understand what Lily means, given that it would be hard to place oneself outside of a situation they've been in all their life. She and her sister must have had a pretty close relationship. Taking pains to interrupt us as little as possible, Yuko dutifully comes over and places a cup on the table. Lily thanks her as I sit back, taking in this vexing girl in front of me. Vexing? She's a nice girl. Despite always seeming to be on her guard and in control of herself when talking to others, she has an almost childlike curiosity about other people. That said, those rare moments she seems to slightly lower her guard are the most insightful into how she thinks. Reaching forward for my drink, I realize something I probably should have noticed earlier. I think I'm starting to become kind of curious about her. What you curious about, Hisao? Better not be them measurements. Despite making a good pace, it's already nightfall by the time I reach the large iron gates in front of the school. While it's nice to have plenty of time to wander around by virtue of living next to the school, I can't help but get the feeling that very few students actually take the opportunity. Compared to the number of students I see milling around on campus during free time, it's startlingly rare to see anyone around town. Given the large number of accommodations and facilities that the school offers, many of them might not see the point of venturing outside, let alone people such as Hanako and Kinji. It makes me wonder if students like Shizune, Misha, and Lily are the exception for the school rather than the norm. As I wander back to my dorm room, I continue to compare my old school with Yamaku. As I do so, I begin to be surprised that I managed to get even this used to everything that's happened to me. Wait, no mention of Lily? You did take her back, right? Okay. The next day I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine since it's Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday, though, but the festival as well. From my window I can already see some people at the soba booth, slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low-quality food. Wow, cold-blooded. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There will be a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others. So I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should feel free to spend my day at the festivals as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit into the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji's up to today out of impulse. I'm curious if he has any plans, since everyone is doing something. Then again, I can picture him having a soundproof shelter in his room. Or possibly like a fort, complete with no girls allowed sign. And with girls crossed out and body crudely scrawled underneath. No body allowed. Oh, oops. Knocking on his door, which is luckily devoid of any sign. I hear again unsettling click of at least 10 locks being pulled back as the door cracks open. Who is it? You're supposed to ask that before opening the door? Oh, it's you. Damn, it's early. It's not really that early. What is it, man? Nothing. Was just gonna ask you what you're gonna do today. Half the school's out there already. Out there? Why? What? What? Is today special? Why are they there? Who are? I can hear them. It's loud. Don't tell me. Has the invasion begun? He suddenly looks more alarmed. What day is it, man? Yeah, I guess you can't see the big wooden booths outside, and people selling stuff. What the hell are you talking about? I have my curtains closed at all times to thwart the snipers. It's the festival? You know that, right? Oh shit. That's today? Ah, damn it! I can't believe I forgot. I don't even have my fort finished yet. This is bad. This is going to be a very, very bad day. It's good you told me this, man. This is going to be a bad day. Why? Oh man, they're gonna be everywhere. The people outside my window, socializing. Kenji rubs his temples, nervously, suddenly looking very ill. It's going to be loud as hell. Damn, and I was gonna go out today, but now it's ruined. Everything's ruined. This is awful. This sucks. This sucks. What the hell? This really sucks. I can't go anywhere now. There's nowhere to run. Kenji seems nervous. You could say that he's majorly freaking out. I can't believe this, so that's what today was. Damn, and I couldn't even prepare for it. I couldn't even brace myself, and now it's here, and I can't do anything. You should have told me this earlier, dude. I mean, at least I know, but I could have known earlier. Imagine what I could have accomplished. Sorry, I thought you knew. So I guess you're not going to do anything today. The weather's even good. Yesterday it was really windy, so I thought that today was going to be cold, but it's not. So there's no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, you should definitely check the day. Just check it out. Ah, no, I can't do it. They'll eat me alive out there, I know it. That has to be a joke, but when he says it with such a straight face, well, relatively straight. What are you gonna do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. We might still be able to make it if we work together. I don't know, I'm pretty hungry, so I thought I'd go get some food first and then check out the attractions. Your class project seems pretty cool, and I gave a hand with it, so I kinda want to see it, at least that one, and chat with Lily, I guess. Speaking of that, you don't have any obligation for the project? Are you out of your mind? That blind broad is up to no good. Wow. Rude. I can feel it in my spleen, man. Her presence is like a dark shadow that's in the way of my great vision. As expected of blind people. Whoa, calm down there. Don't throw don't throw rocks in a, very thick glass's house. Besides, I thought you were also... He holds up his hand to interrupt me. Only legally. Metaphorically, I can see farther than any man before me has seen. Kenji looks stoically into the metaphorical distance to emphasize his statement, thrusting his chin forward to look manlier. Actually, it's just the corridor wall 2 meters away, but it's all the same. I can see the future of mankind, and it's a dark one unless the threat of women is stifled. They are everywhere. He fingers his scarf nervously. Oh, goodness. Faster and faster, like he's going to start a fire, then slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course. I'm going to have to find some place to hide in, a safe haven, and then knock the lights out of myself, so that I don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival. Okay. Later, dude. The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. I kind of wish I could help him knock the lights out of himself. After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki from a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland tasting item. Guess I shouldn't complain though. It's better than nothing and it didn't cost much. As I look towards the school, watching the people coming and going proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing the time as I eat. Little children accompanied by parents or grandparents scamper around in the den from event to event, one hand dragging their company and the other bearing an oversized colorful snack. I can't help but notice the age range of people is more skewed to the elderly, something that I'd noticed when I was walking around them. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those who lived here their whole lives and ardently refuse to leave, and those wanting to live out the rest of their days in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes to explain how conservative Yamaku's school culture seems to be. Dang old people. Not that I mind one bit. I kind of like how calm Yamaku and its surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place for so long has focused my mind on how annoyingly humid it's getting. Now that's the hottest part of the day. I better get going if I... Gah! The sound of carolling bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few of the people strolling around as well. The PA system crackles to life after the tolling bells end. Its age shows as the principal makes a barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of the older folk against the alternatively pained and bored grimaces of the younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay it little heed. Nevertheless, as the address finally ends, all are united in polite, if not overly enthusiastic applause. And then, get back to business. Slipping a hand in my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance for something to do. It's somewhat difficult to see very far with all these people around. I decide to fall back on a tried and trusted rule, go where everyone else seems to be gathering, making a bigger crowd than before. Right now, that's the school courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate into the trash can, I make my way toward the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprises me. Quite a few of the classes have opted to have multiple stalls. In deciding which to visit first, I catch the sight of a familiar banner with patterned blue and red text. Lily's stall is as good a place to start as any. I'm curious as to how it's going after all of the work she and her class have been doing for it. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Easily twice as wide as any of the other stalls and with equipment for cooking strewn everywhere. It's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. As a student in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leave, I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exasperated and asks me to wait a moment before she disappears underneath the counter. Seizing the moment, I take a glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere as pots and pans simmer away. The most blind of the students are unpacking ingredients while being helped by someone who is probably the teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lily among them, talking with the teacher as she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From the expression and the fact that both she and the teacher seem to be in a mild state of mild confusion, it appears that there's been more than one problem in coordination, or some problem in coordination, whatever. Don't judge me. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again, only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lily pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter, and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere. Oh, alright guys. I think you guys know who we've chosen to date. And we're going to get to that date next time. Until then, though, stay safe, have fun, try to make sure you eat some good takoyaki. And one of those things is more important than the others. Bye!